Hello, my name is Mason South, and the movie I chose for the midterm project is the movie Up. Specifically, I chose to look at the relationship between Carl and Russell in this film because they kind of are two very unique, very different characters that end up meshing pretty well at the end of the film and filling major holes in each other's lives that weren't present. Their relationship starts off as an involuntary personal relationship. This is due to the fact that Carl, he had this dream with his wife. They grew up together. They played in this abandoned house. They bought the house together. They lived in it, made it their own. Then his wife passes. They always dreamt of exploring a place called Paradise Falls in South America. Um, Carl is grieving, dealing with great emotional stress, and kind of has closed himself off to the rest of the world. And he decides that he's going to float his house down to South America to Paradise Falls using balloons. Carl comes into his life because he is a wilderness explorer and he needs the elderly badge by helping out an elderly person. At first, Carl turns him away, wants nothing to do with him, is annoyed by him, kicks him out of off his property, I should say. And then, as Carl is starting to float the house away, he notices that Russ is on his front doorstep yet again, and they are now stuck together, making it an involuntary personal relationship. However, as the film continues, this grows into a voluntary personal relationship because through shared experiences, effective communication, and emotional growth, they grow closer together and fill the void of one, Carl and his wife unable to have a child, so he doesn't have a child or grandchild, and Russell does not have a father figure in his life, so they both kind of fit into those areas in each other's lives. A strength of their relationship is that they're able to emotionally grow together throughout their journey. And then a weakness of this relationship would be that they're so very different, making that hard to do as they go on their journey, and it causes a few bumps in the road. Carl sees himself as an independent, stubborn, and emotionally blocked off old man. Obviously, he's grieving the loss of his wife, and he's kind of cut himself off from the rest of the world, and he wants to go on this journey alone. Well, Russell views himself as enthusiastic, determined, and a curious young wilderness explorer who has an absent father in his life. And this kind of drives his desire for approval from adults or father figures in his life. They perceive each other very differently. Carl is very annoyed by Russell, wants nothing to do with him at first, sees him as a thorn in his side because he wants to go on this journey alone and he wants to bring the house and the memory of Ellie to Paradise Falls on his own. And Russell sees Carl as an interesting person in his life, and he's eager and curious to kind of explore this old man that he's just met as they go on this journey together. Culturally, Carl is very different from Russell because of their age difference. Obviously, this age difference, Carl comes from the that day and age where showing vulnerability and being emotionally open to others was kind of frowned upon as a man. So he blocks himself off from Russ, and he doesn't talk about his emotions at all. And this is negative in their relationship because he can't let go of that grief that he has that he lost his wife. And then Russell, on the other hand, is more emotionally open and curious to new experiences, and he's not afraid of showing vulnerability. And I feel like this wears on Carl and helps him finally let go and helps him grow at his old age into almost a new man from where he is at the start of the film. The dialect tension that affects their relationship, the main one that I observed was separation versus integration. Initially, Carl wants independence while Russell wants connection and companionship. Um, this is quite simple in the fact that Carl wants nothing to do with Russell, and then at the end of the film, these end up balancing out as they grow closer as they continue on their journey, I should say. And then a theory I observed in the film was expectancy violations theory. And this is simply just a theory explaining how people respond when someone behaves in an unexpected way. And at the start of the film, Carl's early behaviors towards Russ is negative because adults are generally expected to care for children, and Carl pushes Russell away and treats him unfairly, wants nothing to do with him when he finds him on his front porch when he's stuck with him. And then later in the movie, the expectancy violations theory is at play when Carl chooses to save Russell instead of the house when they're on the edge of the blimp. He has to choose one to let go of and one to save, and he finally lets go of the house, which represents his wife and all the grief that he has, and he finally accepts his new reality and saves Russ, which is very encouraging.